Hey everybody, it's Lon Seidman. It's time for another gadget pick. This one is not electronic, but I do think it qualifies based on what you're going to do with it. So this is a very inexpensive button maker, and if you don't know what a button is, it's basically a pin. And I was playing with this and made myself my own Lawn for President badge here, and also took my company logo here, made them into buttons as well. And this thing actually works pretty decently. It's not perfect, and I thought I would show you how it works in case you're thinking of getting one and looking to see exactly how you make a button with this thing. I was able to get up and running very quickly with it, and we're going to walk through the creation of a button in just a second, but I do want to let you know, in the interest of full disclosure, that this came in free of charge through the Amazon Vine program. However, nobody is paying for this review, nor has anyone reviewed or approved what you're about to see before it was uploaded. So let's get into it now and see how we can make a button with my company logo here. Now this comes from a company called HTV Ront. I've never heard of them before. And in the box you get a ton of supplies here. So you've got enough to make 110 buttons. And you'll probably be making a few mistakes when you first get started, so they've got a lot of leeway here. You also get some paper that you can draw or stick things to, but you can also cut out your own. And to that end, they give you a cutter here, which is actually a bit dangerous, and I'll show you why when we get going with it. Additionally, you also get the little plastic component here that seals it all together. So everything you need to make a button of your own design is in the box here, and it's not all that hard to do. So why don't we cut out one of my logos now and assemble it inside of the press here. Now I found some templates online, so I was able to make my own 58mm or 2.28 inch button. If you do a search for those dimensions, you'll find a bunch of Photoshop and other templates that you can drop into popular applications. And the cutter here, as I mentioned, is a bit dangerous. So as you can see here, there is a razor blade sticking out of the bottom. Let me get that in focus here. And so what you do is you take this plastic piece here and put it down on top of your design. You put this down on top of it, and you got to kind of hold it in place while you run the razor blade around in the circle. And because this is really sharp, you're going to want to make sure you don't stick yourself with it, but also get a cutting board or something to use with it, because it will chew up whatever surface you put it on. In fact, this cutting board is getting mangled up pretty good from all of the holes that I've been cutting out of it. And I'm sure at some point this blade will wear out, but don't despair, because there will be another blade that's not attached to anything that's going to pop out of the packaging when you open up the cutter that you'll find in the box. So just be really careful with this. This is not for kids, I don't think, because it is so easy to accidentally stick yourself with this. They do make these like hole punches for this that you can find online. And I am very new to this button making thing. In fact, I just started button making today when this machine arrived. So this is going to be something where I think a lot of you watching might have some better ideas as to how I can go about doing this better. Now what you want to do is make sure you've got the orientation of the razor blade in the right direction here. So I'm just going to make sure I got that in place, and then I'm just going to run this around in a circle to cut out the button. And hopefully we've got a pretty clean cut here for the most part. So now I've got it popped out. There is some room on the side here because of course this is going to have some of the paper kind of wrapped around. And I didn't cut it perfectly, as you can see. That's why it's really hard to work with this thing. You've got to really hold it in place. But for our purposes here, this is going to be good enough. So now the next step is we are going to turn this piece of paper into a button. So let's get it in the machine and see what happens next. All right, so we're looking top down on the machine, and as you can see, we've got two molds in here. And where you start is on this mold here on the right-hand side, and you take out one of these flat metal pieces and you put that in like so. On top of that, you put your design. And on top of the design, you take out one of these little plastic pieces that it comes with here. And these stick together, so you want to make sure you get just one out of here. So here we go. So we're going to put that down on top. And one of the things I've been struggling with here is that things tend to shift around a bit. You can see how easily this moves. And this is an issue for getting the right alignment with the backing, which I'll get to in a minute. Now that we have this loaded up, I've got it kind of facing me. And what I'm going to do now is rotate this way to put it into the press. And now I'm going to push down on the press. I'm going to get it nice and good there. And when I lift it up, what you're going to see is that it is gone. It's missing. And the reason it's missing is because right now it's stuck in the press, and that's okay, because that's what's supposed to happen. Because now we have to finish the job, and what we're going to finish the job with here is one of these pin pieces. And I found the best and closest alignment I can get is to have it oriented so that you've got basically the shorter area here before the pin facing you, not the other way around. And so now that this is in place, what I'm going to do is rotate this around that way, and hopefully it will be relatively aligned when we're done. So now that we've got that there, I'm going to push it down once more. And what will happen now that I release it is I get a button. Here you go. And so now we've got my logo, and the pin is pretty close to aligned. I'm finding that if you go really kind of quickly with it to try to keep it from moving too much, you'll get it pretty close to alignment here. But as you'll see, when I flip it over, it's not quite perfect. So I've never been able to get like a perfectly aligned back to the front. And I think that's one of the issues when you're dealing with a relatively low-cost kit like this, is that it's never going to be perfect on this. And that's why the more expensive kits cost the level that they cost at. But I think if you're getting into this, it's kind of a fun way to get started. And it's not hard. As you can see, we just made a button, and it was easy to make our own version of a button and print it out and attach it and get something that feels pretty close to something that you would get manufactured on a machine here. It does a really nice job putting all the pieces together. So all in, pretty fun little project thing. If you want to make some buttons up for an event or something, maybe you're running for president and you want to have some campaign buttons, well, now you can make your own, and you don't need a millionaire to back you. You can just get one of these things and print a bunch of buttons yourself. So there you go. That is the button maker that I wanted to show you. Until next time, this is Lon Seidman. Thanks for watching.
This channel is brought to you by the Lon.TV supporters, including gold level supporters Brian Parker, Chris Allegretta, Hot Sauce and Video Games, Logic KGR, Tom Albrecht, and Amda Brown. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to lon.tv/support to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit lon.tv/s.